perhaps I'm not mindful of it anymore.
最近幾個禮拜，我講嘅系列係講到關於父母同埋兒女，
And for the last couple of weeks, we were talking about parents and their children
點樣去栽培佢哋。
and how do we nourish them.
今日我嗰個焦點咧係向啲青少年人嚟到講嘅。
And today I bring a challenge to the young people.
我希望能夠我希望神幫助我哋嚟到達成神個最高嘅要求。
And I want to help each one of us to attain the highest potential that we have
喺
in
我哋嘅
God.
生命嘅裏邊咧，產生最高嘅作用。
And that we have that in our life we'll have the best in
我
our
開
life.
始啊！
Let's start.
我今日講聖經裏邊一個最成功、最出色嘅青年人。
And today I'm going to talk about the most successful and most outstanding youth in the Bible.
唔單止喺年青嘅時間，甚至乎喺年老嘅時間裏邊咧，係無懈可擊嘅。
Not only in his youth, but even in his old age, that he was flawless.
有啲人開始好好，
And some of people were at the beginning they were good,
但係結尾萬劫不保係失敗嘅。
but at the end they were not able to keep their integrity.
所以呢個咁嘅榜樣好重要，一個咧由始至終都係成功嘅人。
So this type of model who is successful from the beginning to the end is very important.
聖經裏邊好少咁嘅人，
There's very few in the Bible.
你估
like
到
that.
係邊個咧？
You can guess who this is.
你估個係邊個咧？
Who do you think it is?
我諗好多人就諗係一係大衛啦、
Some may think it's David,
摩西啦、撒母耳啦，
Moses, Samuel,
或者約瑟。
or Joseph.
但係呢完全都唔係，佢哋個個都有佢失敗嘅地方。
But the answer not them.
聖經當中佔多篇幅嘅人，而冇任何嘅唔好嘅記錄嘅咧，只係有一個就係但以理。
And the only person who that the Bible mentioned a lot, and that yet they have he's flawless in his record. There's only one person, that is Daniel.
我讀呢個經文，但以理第1章第1至第6節。
We read the scripture from the book of Daniel, chapter 1, verse 1 to 6.
猶大王約雅敬在位第3年，巴比倫王尼布甲尼撒來到耶路撒冷，將城圍困，主將猶大王約雅敬並神殿裏殿中嘅器皿的幾份交付他手，他就把這器皿帶到示拿地，叫人示拿地收入他神的廟裏，放在他神的庫中。王吩咐太監長亞斯比拿從以色列人的宗室和貴胄中帶進幾個人來。英文
Young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing the aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. He was to teach them the language and literature of the Babylonians. The king assigned them a daily amount of food and wine, and from the king's table. They were to be trained for 3 years, and after that, they were to enter the king's service. Among those who were chosen were some from Judah: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and also Azariah.
我今日希望青少年人同埋父母都能夠明白到神喺但以理身上高點樣改造佢哋，改造佢。
And I want the parents as well as the young people to know how God has transformed Daniel in his life.
亦都好叫我哋知道神點樣喺我哋生命裏邊嚟到去幫助我哋發揮我哋最高嘅潛力。
And also to know how God will develop our highest potential.
我嘅題目係叫做廢青嘅再生。
And the title of my sermon is The Rebirth of a Delinquent Youth.
天父，我哋感謝你，
Father, we thank you
俾我哋有你嘅話語，
that we can have your word
俾我哋知道你係我哋嘅生命裏邊最寶貴嘅，
and to know that you are the most precious in our
因為
life
你俾我哋有目標有盼望。
because you give us a purpose and a hope.
如果我哋缺少你嘅時候，我哋就好似船隻一樣，係冇呢一個舵，冇呢一個帆嘅時候，我哋隨風漂流。
And that without you, we are like a boat without our sails or our rudder.
幫助我哋，對我哋講說話。
That we go through and fro, and thank you for speaking to us.
我哋心裏邊有唔明白嘅地方，懇求主你聖靈開啟我哋，
And when there's things that we don't understand, may the Spirit show us.
唔係為咗今日嘅一時嘅高興，
not that so that we just satisfy us for today.
我哋希望我哋所有青少年一生都能夠應用你嘅話語，
That I hope that our youth can apply this truth in their life,
響佢哋
all their
生命裏
lives,
邊燃點起你嘅火花，
and choose that in their life they have a sparkle from you,
使到佢成為一個有影響力嘅人。
that they can become one who is influential.
我哋咁樣禱
influential.
告，奉主耶穌基督聖名求，
We pray all in Jesus' name.
阿門。
Amen.
嗱，未講到但以理之前咧，我希望講啲咁多背景嘅情形。
And before we go into the text, we want to talk about a little bit of background.
因為當青年人入大學嘅時候，往往會面到呢個信仰嘅挑戰。
A lot of time when the youth enter into university, in their faith they face a challenge.
因為喺大學裏邊所教好多嘅嘢咧，嗰啲人民主義咧，係同你嘅信心嘅信仰係相反嘅。
Because what they teach humanism is very opposite to their faith.
係直接嚟到對你嘅信仰係有挑戰，對聖經嘅真實感係有挑戰。
It challenges directly your faith.
所以今日要同大家講到預備你哋大家嘅心咧，等你有一日進到大學裏邊嘅時候咧，你嘅信心係能夠站得到穩。
So I want to prepare you for that day when you're entering into university that you can stand firm on your faith.
其中一樣嘢就講到但以理啦。
And one of the things we talk about will be Daniel.
唔單止但以理，其實聖經整體都係有同樣嘅係被攻擊嘅。
And not only about Daniel, but the Bible as a whole are being attacked.
現代啲叫新派或者自由派嘅神學家嘅學者咧，尤其是喺大學當中嘅教授咧，係往往話但以理係一個虛構人，係唔存在嘅。
And a lot of this scholars, or especially in the university, the professors, they state that Daniel is the person that don't exist, is fabricated.
佢話呢啲係人造嘅故事，係令到啲被擄嘅以色列人咧，係感到對佢哋嘅呢個志氣提高感到高興，但係冇發生過嘅。
And they fabricated the story so that the morale of the Hebrews would be better. But the story is the thing they talk about in the story never happened.
嗱，呢啲咁嘅教育，呢啲咁嘅學者或者啲咁嘅大學裏邊嘅神學院咧，係令到大多數嘅信聖經裏邊嘅教會咧，係自己要開辦佢嘅神學院，自己要開辦佢嘅聖經學院。
Because of these scholars or professors in university, caused many of the different denominations to set their own university or own seminary.
因為如果你去嗰度讀佢啲大學嘅神學院嘅話，佢哋都唔信聖經嘅時候，你點樣能夠訓練到一個神嘅僕人出嚟咧？
And how can you train a faithful servant of God in a environment where they don't believe in the Bible at all?
其實佢對聖經整本嘅聖經都有同樣嘅攻擊。
And they attack everything that's in the Bible.
例如創世記唔係摩西寫嘅，嗱係有4個不同嘅作者。
And they would, for example, that the book of Genesis is not written by Moses. Actually, is a combined work of 4 different authors.
佢話你睇就知啦，第一章同第二章唔同嘅，一個咧第一章咧嗰個咧係猛講神，另一章咧講耶和華。
That from chapter 1 and chapter 2, you see that in the chapter 1 they will talk about God, and but in second chapter they talk about Jehovah.
所以有一個作者係神嘅作者，一個咧就係耶和華嘅作者，然後將佢所有嘅抄埋集埋包埋一齊。
And one is the author for God, another author is the author for Jehovah, and they just collect everything and group them together.
我只係舉啲咁多例子啫。
I'm just giving you some
或
examples.
者佢哋講咧，大衛同埋約拿單其實係兩個係同性戀嚟嘅。
And another example, and that Jonathan and also David, they are actually homosexuals
因為佢兩個好朋友啊嘛。
because they were good friends.
而但以理咧唔係一本預言書，係一本歷史書嚟嘅，因為好準確，冇理由咁準確啊！嗱係事後寫先能夠咁準確嘅。
They say the book of Daniel is not a book of prophecy, but rather is a book of history because all the facts are so accurate.
4福音係你抄我，我抄你嘅。
And the 4 gospel that the author just copy one another.
嗱，講翻轉頭啊，除咗但以理之外，仲有聖經入邊好多其他嘅預言書，譬如啟示錄啦，根本係之前講，係唔係之後講嘅。所以我哋要明白咧，預言書係之前講出嚟，如果應驗咗之後，你唔能夠突然間講唔係喎，呢個歷史書之後寫翻嘅喎。
And the other books, prophecy in the Bible, like Revelation, are recording things that hasn't happened yet. So that when it happened, you can say that they have recorded after it, after the fact.
最大嘅攻擊就係攻擊主耶穌啦。
And the greatest attack they have is they attack the
佢係講
person
到主耶
Jesus.
穌係一個犯人，
They said that Jesus is only a ordinary person.
聖經裏邊同主耶穌相處嗰啲女人咧，同主耶穌係發生過關係嘅，喺嗰啲咁嘅學者當中。
And a lot of theologians said the people who were with the woman who were with Jesus, they have a relationship with him.
呢個 Dan Brown 所寫一個達文西密碼係講到耶穌原來係一個犯人。
And Dan Brown, who wrote the book The Da Vinci Code, said that Jesus is actually an ordinary person.
你睇電影都睇過啦，可能有啲人。
And you may have saw the movie or read the book.
佢話嗱，佢同抹蒂拉、瑪亞麗亞啦，跟住咧係生咗仔，而且你而家咧有啲咧係主耶穌嗰個後代裏邊傳到嚟，仲有其人活着嘅。
And that he had a offspring with the Madelyn, and his bloodline continue into today.
你入到大學聽到啲係咁嘅嘢，
And that's what you'll hear when you enter into university.
仲有講到進化論啊，講其他嘅問題添。
And they talk about evolution and other topics.
頭先所講到嘅問題，
All
其
these
實係最近西方嘅邊緣文化嘅典型嘅陰謀論。
And this is what we talk about. It's really a classic Western marginalization culture. It's actually the conspiracy theory.
陰謀論
Conspiracy theory.
嗰啲而家你知道好多陰謀論喺個世界裏邊滿天飛嘅，
You know there's a lot of conspiracy theory around the world.
佢哋作好多理由去否定或者捏造啲理論去否定一啲又被人公認嘅事實。
They fabricate a lot of theories to deny or negate accepted facts.
等於舉例子，911係冇發生過嘅。
For instance, the 9/11 never happened.
呢個世貿倒塌咧，飛機撞落去咧，可能咧係美國嘅政府自己去殺佢自己嘅人，係製造咁嘅故事。
And the World Center collapsed because the United States government they planned it.
我嘅鄰居同我講咧，我就入到佢屋企，佢就俾我睇一個咁嘅海報。
And I went into my neighbor's home and he showed me this poster.
佢睇呢一個登陸月球嗰個咁嘅海報。
And a poster about landing on the moon.
佢話呢件事冇發生過㗎。
And he said it never happened.
係虛構嘅，係製造嘅影片嚟嘅。
It's fabricated. It's just a movie that they made.
而家好多人甚至乎有啲基督徒溫室氣候呢一個係唔存在嘅。
And some may say that the global warming doesn't exist.
或者而家最流行嘅就係呢個冠狀病毒係政府做嘅謠言嚟嘅，你哋唔需要戴口罩，因為政府想控制你，使到你失咗自由。
And what is popular today is that the COVID doesn't exist. It's something that is fabricated by the government so to control the people.
如果我哋明白呢個謠言滿天飛呢個陰謀論嘅時候，我哋要明白咧，聖經裏邊針對佢、反對佢嘅都有同樣嘅陰謀論喺裏邊。
And with all these conspiracy theory, those who oppose the Bible also have their theories as well.
佢哋啲人認為佢哋自己比當時聖經嗰個時代裏邊嘅人咧，係幾千年之前嘅人咧更加清楚。
And the people think that today they are more, they know even more than the people who from several thousand years ago.
個個都係錯，佢哋自己啱。
And everyone is wrong except them.
但係你要明白喎，同一件事有唔同陰謀論嘅作者咧，有講唔同嘅理論，係兩個都唔對照嘅。
And you need to know that the authors of these conspiracy theories, even though I said about the same event or same thing, that you have a different theory.
因為講陰謀論嘅人咧，好主觀嘅。
And because for those who have produced these theories, they are very subjective.
所以佢覺得佢所有嘅理論係最啱嘅，而另外嘅陰謀論嘅人咧係錯嘅。
They think that what they say is correct. The other theories are wrong.
其實呢個可能性係好少。
but the possibility is very low.
冇可能幾千年之前，當事人係完全唔知道，佢哋目擊者人係完全唔知道。你事後咁多千年之後，你所知道嘅資料係最準確。
And that the people who are living several thousand years ago is less precise than the people now.
如果你信陰謀論嘅話，
If you believe in conspiracy
好可能一日
theory,
人哋就講咧，你個媽媽唔係你真係媽媽嚟㗎。
and perhaps one day people will say to you that your mother is really not your
因
mother.
為你有冇試過啊？有冇聽過啊？我細個聽過啊。佢話呢個唔係你媽媽。我媽媽同我講嘅，你係火車橋裏邊執翻嚟，你係個乞兒婆生㗎。你如果咁唔聽話，我帶你翻去啦咁樣。
And that I heard this from my mom told me a story that you're not born from this mother. Actually, you were picked up from a train station, and actually that beggar over there is your mother.
當然我知道媽媽係嚇我啫，所以咧我冇任何個移動懷疑咧，我唔係媽媽生嘅，我係第二個人生嘅。
Of course, at that time, I have no doubt that I am born from my mother, not from another woman.
今日到底但以理有冇其人呢？
But today, is Daniel a real person or not?
你認為點啊？
What do you think?
有冇但以理其人呢？
Is Daniel a real person?
我俾聖經裏邊少少線索俾大家知道。
I'll give you some hints from the Bible.
但以理唔係只係響但以理書被提到，
Daniel is not only mentioned in the book of Daniel.
響以西結書亦都指明佢有兩個地方指明但以理同代嘅人。
In the book of Ezekiel, also his contemporary also mentioned his name in at least.
以西結書第28章第3節裏邊所講話，係同呢個推羅王講話：你比但以理更有智慧咩？
And in the book, in Ezekiel chapter 23 says, "Are you wiser than Daniel?"
再加上但以理唔係一個籍籍無名嘅人，
And also that Daniel is not an infamous person.
呢一個佢係巴比倫嘅高官，
He is a high official of Babylon.
然後跟住係馬代帝國嘅高官，
He is also a high official in the Media Persia.
係有名嘅皇帝尼布甲尼撒同埋古列同埋大利烏三個歷史出名嘅人物嘅眾神。
And he the important official for the three famous kings, Nebuchadnezzar, Cyrus, and also Darius.
我哋要知道，我哋唔能夠將虛構嘅同埋真實嘅擺埋一齊，撈埋一齊。
We cannot mix what is real and what is fictional.
千真萬確嘅嘢嘅故事，要同千真萬確嘅故事擺埋一齊。
The real story can be put together with new real stories.
虛構嘅要同虛構嘅擺埋一齊。
Fiction can be put together with other fiction.
但係如果虛構同真實嘅擺埋一齊嘅時候，係唔可以說服任何人㗎，因為有根據㗎嘛。你嗰個真實嗰個歷史裏邊。
But if you put the real story and also the fabrication together, you cannot convince anyone because there are reference to the fact.
你如果將一個虛構嘅但以理同呢一個尼布甲尼撒王擺埋一齊嘅時候，一定係揾到佢係虛構嘅。
And that if you put Daniel who is fabricated with King Nebuchadnezzar, you could tell that Daniel is fake.
但係聖經神係將但以理同真實嘅歷史係擺埋一齊。
But in the Bible, that God has put Daniel together with the fact in history.
聖經裏邊唔係中國人所講嘅真金不怕紅爐火。
And the Chinese may say the real gold can go through the.
你可以揾歷史，你可以揾呢個巴比倫嘅歷史，揾馬代波斯嘅歷史，你會知道答案。
And if you go through the record of history and for Babylon and for Media Persia, you'll find the facts.
另外就係呢個巴比倫同埋呢一個巴比倫同埋波斯咧，嗱即係等於而家嘅伊朗同埋伊拉克咧係回教國家。
And on top of that, Babylon and also Persia, that the Iran and Iraq of today, they are an Islamic country.
佢係同呢個猶太人係對死對頭嚟嘅。
They're the arch rivals of the Hebrews.
你試想一下，如果你擺一個虛構嘅故事講到猶太人有個咁巴閉響秘魯裏邊嘅，你估回教徒會唔會放過你咧？你講虛構嘅説話。
And if you've fabricated Daniel, do you think that these Islamic countries will let you off the hook?
幾年之前咧，呢個世運會嘅時間有一件好可笑嘅事。
And several years ago during the Olympic, there's a very laughable event.
我啲兒女俾我睇一個咁嘅新聞啊。
And my children showed me this news.
講到咧喺北韓裏邊嘅新聞咧，係日日報道咧，北韓贏咗幾多嘅金牌世運會。
That in the North Korea, that every day in the news they proclaimed how many gold medals they won.
原來北韓根本冇參加過呢個世運會嘅。
But the fact is, the North Korea had never participated in the Olympics.
呢個原來佢哋係虛構嘅政治宣傳，係吹噓佢喺佢國民嘅當中吹噓佢嘅勢力。
It is fabricated political propaganda.
當你睇到咁嘅新聞嘅時候，你真係笑到肚啲痛晒啦。
I have a very good laugh when I saw this news.
假如但以理係虛構嘅話，我相信回教徒睇到，哇！你啲猶太教點解有冇搞錯啊？即係咁嘅虛構故事，啲冇發生過嘅。
And I believe that all the Islamic country would laugh at the Jews that why you fabricate this laughable story.
呢個猶太教會俾人拆招牌，甚至乎基督教睇呢個但以理書嘅都俾人拆招牌。
And even not the Judaism will have their name trampled on, even the Christianity today as well.
你翻屋企睇一睇啊！原來喺呢個回教嘅經典裏邊咧，都有同樣記載到但以理係先知嚟嘅。
And you go home and check this that in the books of the Islam religion, they also mention about Daniel.
仲有一樣嘢。
Well, one more thing.
根據呢個世俗嘅歷史裏邊，同埋而家都仲有啊呢個名勝啊，就係咧原來但以理喺呢個書珊城係死嘅。
And also they recorded that Daniel died in the city of Susa.
就係即係伊朗一個其中一個城市。
It's a city in the Iraq.
唔單止咁嘅樣。
Iran.
原來世界上有6個唔同嘅地方咧，爭住喺回教國家爭住嚟認係但以理安葬墳墓嘅地方。
And not only that, but also in the 6 cities in the Islamic country, they try to fight for the recognition that this is where Daniel is being.
因為如果係虛構人物，就唔會有嘅墳墓，亦都唔會有人爭認佢呢個地方。
And if Daniel is actually fabricated, then nobody they will not have a tomb for him, and no one will actually fight for recognition to have his tomb being there.
證明當地嘅伊朗人啊、伊拉克人啊，都係崇拜呢個一時之間喺政治裏邊顯赫嘅猶太人。
And for that reason, that I think that the people in Iran and Iraq, they actually respect this Jewish person who was an important figure.
佢哋崇拜呢個但以理。
And they respect and honor him.
所以佢哋爭住要認呢個係但以理喺度安葬嘅地方。
And that's why they fight for the recognition that he was buried in their city.
所以弟兄姊妹啊，我哋唔好相信啲陰謀論、胡說八道。
Also, we should not believe in these conspiracy theories and the nonsense.
無論係大學教授，無論係神學院院長或者任何學者，佢哋所講咁樣講法咧，係真係比文盲都不如。
And no matter they are a scholar or they are a professor in university or even a dean of a theology seminary,
佢得閒冇嘢做，可以揾啲理論出嚟。
And when they say that they are worse than illiterates.
最後一樣嘢就係原來主耶穌都提到但以理。
And another thing, the last thing is that even Jesus mentioned about Daniel.
馬太福音24章第15節裏邊所講話，你們看見先知但以理所說嘅，話行可憎毀壞嘅站在聖地裏邊咧，你哋應該會意。即係原來但以理係主耶穌啲印證咗佢嘅存在。
And in Matthew chapter 24. Verse 15. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel.
好啦，呢啲係但以理嘅嗰啲咁嘅額外嘅背景啊。
So even Jesus has confirmed the existence of Daniel. So this is the background of Daniel.
我而家開始講一講但以理個本人啦。
Let's talk about we talk about his background.
但以理係一個與眾不同嘅人。
And he is a very different person.
但以理書第1章第18至22節咧，講到佢比其他嘅最聰明嘅呢個伊拉克嘅人咧，聰明10倍。
And in the book of Daniel chapter 1, it talks about how smart that he was. He was better than all the smartest in Iraq 10 times.
喺呢個但以理書第5章第10至第11節裏邊所，呢個太后講到佢咧係好重要㗎，佢心裏邊有神聖嘅靈，係光明，係聰明智慧。
And also the queen at that time, in Book of Daniel chapter 5, talk about that he has intelligence and wisdom.
呢個太后應該係尼布甲尼撒嘅老婆啦。
And that queen should be the mother, no,
The wife.
the wife of Nebuchadnezzar.
然後跟蹤但以理書第6章第3節，呢個係幾個朝代之後幾個皇帝之後噶啦，4、5個皇帝之後咧，係但以理係被抌到呢個獅子坑嗰個故事。
And also in the book of Daniel chapter 6, that's after a few kings after, and talk about the story of the lion's den.
講到但以理有美好嘅靈性同埋辦事忠心咧，係超過其他同佢一齊被委任嘅總督省長。
And that he was distinguished and also have exceptional quality, better than those who the other administrators.
你諗一諗啊，要得呢個尼布甲尼撒暴君去重用嘅，其實幾難啊！
You could contemplate about this, how easy it is or how difficult it is to have the confidence of this tyrant Nebuchadnezzar.
你諗下啲響橋北省啊，你要做呢個高官啊，入呢個警務界啊，咁之此類嘅幾多年裏邊，人哋打嚟都打唔入去嗰度裏邊。
You could imagine that you can imagine that in Quebec, if you want to become a high official in the government or enter into police force, how difficult it is for you to try to get in.
要個戰夫去做到咁高級嘅係唔容易。
For a captive to attain such a high position is not easy.
而且通常你被人哋俘虜之後，你係深仇大恨喎，你國家係俾人哋打破咗喎，你係懷恨在心嘅時候咧，皇帝唔敢信任你喎，驚住咧你會報復喎。
And then when you a captive, because you have been conquered, and you probably have a hatred inside, and the king will not use you lightly.
所以但以理係一個好高品質嘅人，使到咧其他呢一個佢即係呢個巴比倫人啲信任佢呢個外國人。
And Daniel must have a quality, outstanding quality that all these kings would use a foreigner.
唔單止咁樣樣。
Not only that.
呢個巴比倫亡國啦，然後呢個馬代波斯興起啦，嚟到去取代咗佢啦。
And the Medo Persian had conquer Babylonian and took over.
而居然冇殺咗佢，冇囚禁佢。
But they did not put Daniel into jail or kill him.
你知道以往嘅朝代換朝代嘅時候咧，佢哋冇安全感嘅時候咧，會將上一代嗰啲咁嘅有勢力嘅人咧一齊捉咗去坐監啊，或者係殺咗佢嘅。
And after a place being conquered, usually those who were in the officials who have power, they usually kill them or put them in jail.
相反，呢個大利烏王咧係重用佢，重用但以理，使到佢提高佢成為3個總督嘅之一。
On the contrary, the king Darius had took him and put him into as one of the 3 administrators for him.
可見咧，但以理咧係一個史無前例、世上嗰個罕見嘅奇才。
And you can see that Daniel is actually a very one in a million, a rare talent or genius of that time.
但以理係一個才貌雙全、十全十美嘅年青人，係唔容易揾得到嘅。
And he is handsome and intelligent, a perfect youth.
以西結書第28章第3節裏邊所講到以西結俾嗰個神藉著以西結俾嗰個好高嘅評論。
And also in the book Ezekiel, that God had put him into give him a very good.
即係話佢料事如神嘅，佢好高度智慧，冇任何嘅秘密可以隱瞞到佢嘅。
Give a very high praise that means that he knows all things, nothing can be hidden from him.
14章第12節裏邊講到另外話咧，如果神要毀壞成個地方即係得3個人有咁嘅條件咧，係免死嘅。
And in the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel, it talks about when God wanted to destroy a place, there are only 3 persons who qualify to survive.
挪亞、但以理同埋約伯。
Daniel and Job.
連大衛啊、摩西啊，都唔入呢個流添嘅。
And not even David or Moses is in this group.
嗱，呢啲係唔係大衛，唔係所羅門，呢個係但以理嘅背景。
And this is the background of Daniel.
咁我要問大家個問題啦。
So let me ask you a question.
但以理嘅成功有咩秘訣咧？
So what is his secret of success?
邊個栽培佢咧？
Who have cultivated him?
肯定佢一個好好嘅父母，能夠作育英才。
For sure that he have a very good parents who nurtured him.
栽培一個超卓越嘅，能夠光宗耀祖嘅青年人。
And to cultivate such a superb young person.
到底佢哋係邊個？我哋可以向佢哋學習呢個教養兒女、栽培兒女成功嘅秘密咧？
And bring honor to their family. And how can we learn from them how to nurture and cultivate our children?
弟兄姊妹，如果你覺得但以理咁值得人羨慕嘅，你有冇諗過向佢父母嚟學習咧？好似摩西父母一樣咁咧？
Have you think about that? Since he's such a superb person, then we should learn from his parents just as we learn from Moses' parents.
聖經裏邊揾唔到答案，
But we cannot find that answer in the Bible.
乜嘢都揾唔到。
We find nothing.
我只有一個結論，就好似咧，大多數嘅成功人咧係常見嘅事實咧，就係咧英雄莫問出處。
And I only have drawn one conclusion: that the original of the hero is not important.
一個成功人唔一定有成功嘅父母栽培。
Successful does not necessarily have a successful parent have being raised by nursed by a
一個
successful parent.
成功希望青少人特別係知道唔好怨天尤人，唔好話我冇咁好背景我就係唔得成功，唔好咁諗。原來咧，一個成功人唔一定需要有一個優秀同埋優美嘅環境。
Now does a successful person need to have a good environment to brought up him, so we don't have to complain that we don't have a good environment to raise up in.
我希望你今日知道，就算你環境幾唔好先算啦，你係可以成功嘅。
I want you to know that today, that even no matter how bad your environment is, you can still be successful.
甚至乎你嘅父母唔係好懂得點樣去栽培你，你都可以成功嘅。
Even if your parents don't know how to develop you, to nurture you, you still can be successful.
但以理書第1章第1節裏面所講，但以理係生長呢個亂世嘅底下，喺亞敬1年嘅時候係被擄做亡國奴。
And in the book of Daniel, chapter 1, it mentioned that Daniel lived in a time of confusion, that he was actually a citizen of a foreign nation.
Not just confusion, but corruption, very corrupted society。喺呢一個原來呢個約雅敬嘅年間呢裏邊咧，以色列全國都係好腐敗嘅。
And they found that in the not only confused, but a very corrupted time, that his country at the time was corrupted.
如果你睇以賽亞書、耶利米書同埋呢個以西結書，同埋所有小專書、所有小專先知書咧，所講嘅都係講到佢嘅罪惡喺個當中。
And you look at all the book of prophets, that you can see that they were talking about the evil that were in Israel at that time.
為咗方便嘅緣故，我引用下以西結書第22章，因為我一陣都會引用其他嘅嘢，講到當時嘅情況係點樣樣。
And we'll use the book of Ezekiel chapter 22 to look at what was happening
就係
at that
但以
time.
理成長喺猶太呢個巴勒斯坦嘅時候係點嘅情況？
And what is the situation at the time of Daniel's upbringing?
呢個係佢哋未亡國之前，神藉着先知向佢哋警告嘅。
And this is what the warning that God had given to the Israelites before the fall of their nation.
係反映出咧但以理嗰時候嗰個環境幾咁惡劣。
And how they reflect how bad the environment was for Daniel.
聖經裏面所講嘅全國咧，包括政府上至到最低嘅人民咧，都一樣咁腐敗。
That the whole nation, from the king to the lowest class of the citizens, they were corrupted.
佢拜偶像啦，
They worship idols,
同埋充滿色情喺佢哋裏邊。
and they were full of pornography.
唔單止係色情啊，嗱係所講到嘅話咧，各人向佢鄰舍嘅妻子嚟到去打主意嘅。
And not only that, they were coveting the wife of their neighbors.
仲有喺家庭裏邊咧，向佢哋自己嘅媳婦新抱之類嘅亂倫嘅問題，同埋自己兒女。
And also that incest in the family.
做兒女嘅就藐視嘅父母，唔尊重佢哋嘅。
And the children has contempt for their parents.
第22章第7節啦，
And don't
就
respect
係
them.
嚟到欺壓外邦嘅寄居嘅人同埋孤兒寡婦。
And also in verse 7, that they treat the father and mother with contempt, and they also oppress the foreigners and mistreat the fatherless and the
12節裏
widow.
面所講流血受賄賂、高利貸同埋欺騙。
And in the verse 12, that they extort, or they shed blood and they extort others.
國家係充滿暴力，
The country is full of violence.
有暴君，亦都有暴政。
They have a tyrant as a king, also a tyranny.
所以神係忍無可忍咧，起誓咧要重重罰以色列人。
And for that reason, God can take it no longer and have to heavily punish them
施行呢個天災橫禍啦、饑荒瘟疫之處理啦。
and bring upon them calamities like the famines and pandemic.
仲要派呢一個亞述國同埋巴比倫國嚟攻擊佢哋，係使到佢哋亡國添嘅。
And to have the Assyrians and also the Babylonians to come and invade them and cause the fall of Israel
但
as
以
a
理喺
nation.
呢咁嘅環境裏邊長大，
And this is the environment that Daniel was brought up in.
冇一個好嘅環境，亦都冇父母悉心嘅栽培。
He neither has a good environment to be brought up in or a parents.
一陣
to
會
look
講
after
講
him.
父母少少啫，但係唔好講好多。但係你冇誤會喎，唔係等於但以理咧係冇學問喎。
But that doesn't mean that Daniel was not knowledgeable.
只係冇人栽培，像我頭先所講。
As we mentioned, and no one have cultivated him.
因為但以書第1章第3至第4節裏邊所講到咧，佢要揾嘅因為巴比倫王所要揾嘅就係要通達各樣學問嘅知識同埋聰明具備嘅，即係話未訓練佢之前咧，佢應當咧係有好個高嘅教育啦，有好嘅知識啦，有好名利嘅人啦。
And as we look in read in Daniel chapter 1 verse 4, that the king was looking for young people who have aptitude for every kind of learning, well informed, quick to understand.
喺古時裏邊，唯一有咁嘅條件嘅就係啲皇親國戚王子貴族嘅家庭裏邊，或者高官嘅家庭先有咁嘅好嘅教育，咁嘅好有學問。
And in those ancient times, the people who are qualified are only people who have in the royal family or of noble birth.
但係大家要明白喎，有好學問唔係等於好品格喎，唔係等於有深啲但以理所顯示嘅條件喎。
But I want you to know to be knowledgeable is not equal that he have a good character.
冇人栽培你，冇人訓練你嘅時候咧，係好呢咁嘅條件都係冇作用嘅。
Even though you have such a great qualification, that you would be useless without people cultivating you.
點解話冇人栽培？因為連佢父母都係呢啲同樣犯罪嘅人。
And why did I say that he doesn't have parents to nurture or cultivate him or train him? Because even his parents are the same as him.
整個社會都係有咁嘅問題啦。
That this is a problem for the whole society.
但你會話，
But you may say,
但以理肯定唔會係咁樣咁腐敗。
oh, for sure that Daniel must be different. He's
人
not
人
as
做錯，
corrupted.
佢冇做錯，因為聖經裏邊根本但以理書裏面係咁講啊嘛，佢係一個好無懈可擊嘅人啊嘛。
Because in book of Daniel, we taught that he's a flawless person, so he must be very different.
我肯定但以理係出污泥而不染，係脫俗同埋超世嘅。
I'm certain that he was not tamed by his environment.
但係錯啦，
But you're wrong.
但以理唔係你所想象中咁理想嘅人，喺被擄之前。
And before his being captured, he's not as ideal as we thought.
喺呢個以西結書第22章第28至30節咧，神講一啲好重要嘅，其中俾一個線索俾我哋知道係咁啊。佢話咧，國家壞到咁樣樣，佢話我要尋找，我哋經常讀呢個經文啦，我要尋找一個人咧，係重修藏換，係喺我面前站喺破口防堵，但係使到我唔滅呢個城嘅話，但我一個都找唔到，一個都揾唔到。
The neighbors so corrupted. God and here says that I look for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in a gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it. But I found no one.
即係全個國家裏邊冇一個人合格，包括但以理在內。
So that means that throughout the nation, no one was qualified, including Daniel.
所以我哋要明白咧，但以理被擄之前咧係唔合格嘅一個人，所以佢好多才學。
You need to know that although he's very knowledgeable, that he was still not qualified.
我今日要大家明白一樣嘢。
Before his capture, so I want you to understand one thing.
我知道我哋好多嘅子女喺我哋間教會裏邊咧，會有好高嘅學問，會讀好多書。
And I know that a lot of children that we have right now will have a very high education.
但係我哋要小心明白到我哋周圍嘅環境，我哋要明白個問題。
but we need to understand the issue that's caused by the environment.
因為環境會影響到我哋，
Because the circumstance and environment will affect us,
影響到我哋啲兒女。
affect our children.
如果一個頹喪嘅環境長大嘅時候咧，無論你點樣才華蓋世，但係你都好可能咧係被渲染咗落去。
And no matter if you're living in a degenerate society, and no matter how great your talent is, you will still be pulled down by
佢
it.
周圍啲同學，如果唔想去讀書嘅時候，唔想入大學嘅時候，你個兒女都好可能咧有一日話：我啲唔要入大學啦。
And maybe all his friends or the people around him say, I'm not going to university. Then your children may decide one day they won't go either.
佢哋嘗試不同嘅唔應當做嘅嘢嘅時候，你啲兒女都會同樣去同流合污去咁樣做。
And if the other people are trying different things, then one day your children may follow them.
但以理喺呢個成長嘅期間裏邊咧，係同一班係頹喪嘅分子係同埋一齊長大。
And in the time of his upbringing, Daniel living with a group of people who were dejected.
成班嘅青年人長大嘅時候，都係自甘墮落啊、無所事事啊、遊手好閒、好食懶飛嘅人。
And they're living with a group of people who wallow in the degeneration, who do nothing and depend on others to provide for them.
所以就算你有幾好嘅條件、幾有嘅才華，你周圍嘅人影響你嘅時候咧，將你咧係拖低咗啦。
And no matter how great the quality, how great the talent that he has, he's being pulled down by everything.
社會歷史裏邊俾我睇到好多不同嘅咁嘅例子。
And throughout history, we see this many examples.
喺基甸嘅時候一樣啦。
For example, in time of Gideon,
基甸我以前解釋過好多次，就係一個大能嘅勇士，
and,
生出嚟就好有能力嘅。
and we see that he was born a great warrior, a mighty warrior.
但係佢喺一個失敗嘅、令人沮喪嘅環境當中長大嘅時候，令到呢個大能勇士變成一個膽小如鼠嘅呢一個咁嘅懦夫。
And because he was living in a very depressive environment, that he become a coward.
係咁簡單。
Just that simple.
我哋嘅環境會影響呢啲成功人變成失敗嘅人。
And our environment can affect us, so those who should be successful can become a barrier,
除非突破咗。
unless he can have a breakthrough.
或者講多一樣嘢就係咧，我好多年之前咧，宣道會前任嘅牧師簡國嘅牧師咧，喺80年代咧去到中國大陸旅遊，當時咧係文化大革命嘅過後。
And after the pastor of the Alliance Church, Pastor Jonathan King, he went to into travel in China in the 80s.
佢話當時見到咧，去到咧，佢話咧滿目瘡痍，四處都係隨行敗瓦。
And that just after the Cultural Revolution, and what he saw was everywhere was desolation.
唔係好似而家咁樣喎，唔係好似而家咁進步喎。當時咧係即係青黃不接嘅時間，但係大家都冇晒心機嗰個時間。
During the times where there's no continuation, it's not like today that is so affluent.
佢話佢哋想起一啲好新型嘅酒店，但係咧嗰時候咧，佢睇見啲冷氣機抌喺度，都冇人掂嘅，讓佢喺度生鏽，新冷氣機冇人安裝啊。
And there they went to a very high class hotel, and they see that the air conditioning units were being laid on the floor, and no one were installing them.
因為喺當代嘅時間，我哋知道咧，喺一個好流行嘅國術語就係咧，做又36，唔做又36。咁啲人好懶啊，佢哋冇需要嘅振作，唔需要去用功嘅。
And there's a saying at that time that no matter what you do, everything is the same thing. So people would become lazy and just let it go.
但係中國人唔係咁懶喎，中國人好有條件、好有天賦嘅條件嘅喎。
But we know that Chinese people are not so lazy.
係好
They're
勤
very
力嘅
gifted.
喎。
They're very diligent.
我等東南亞見到好多中國人咧，開鋪頭咧，開到好夜嘅先至賺到錢嘅喎。
I know in Asia people operate their business long hours so they could earn more money.
但係當喺個頹廢嘅環境裏邊咧，可以令到你自己啲真係變成為頹廢嘅。
And in this dejected situation, you become dejected as well.
當然，鄧小平改變咗啦，國家進步啦，開始咧係鼓勵大家咧係自己要用功，唔係要靠國家嚟養你，唔係靠國家嚟幫你。
And Chairman Deng had changed all this and encourage people to depend on themselves and not depend on the government to
然後我
support them.
發覺咧，哇！原來中國人真係咁勤力嘅，真係咁成功嘅。
And they've seen that the Chinese people, they can be successful, they have a potential.
但係原來環境可以令到你有唔同嘅反應。
But your environment will cause a different effect in you.
但以理雖然才華蓋世，但係被環境影響嘅時候咧，係活喺一個失敗者嘅主義當中。
And even though that there's a great talent in Daniel, but because of his environment, that he was pulled down.
佢被擄之前同3個朋友一樣，係喺失敗嘅年青人當中係冇分別嘅。
And he and his 3 friends, before they were captured, they are like all the other young people at the time.
懶洋
No
洋，
difference.
冇上進心，爬唔起嚟，無精打采玩機啦，一無所事事啦。
They lack motivation. They don't have a heart to strive for anything, and they just do nothing and just play with their game.
其實連佢父母成長嘅時候，都係有同樣嘅情形，點去栽培到佢咧？
And even his parents, they're the same thing as him. So how could they cultivate and nurture him?
我諗呢個但嘢就好似咧清朝裏邊啲富家子弟都係道友嚟嘅。
And
in
at the end of the Qing dynasty, a lot of the children of the wealthy family, they are all druggies and addicted to drugs.
響60年代嘅嬉皮士，
Or the hippies in the 60s.
但以理就好似而家呢個年代，我哋經常所講嘅係廢青，係冇上進心嘅，一蹶不振嘅。
And the Daniel is like the youth delinquents of today, and they lack motivation and they don't strive for anything.
雖然神賜俾佢哋有天賦嘅條件，但佢往往咧喺因為環境嘅因素咧失咗佢哋作用。
Even though that God had given in the talent, but because of the environment that he lived in, and they lost his purpose.
糟蹋咗神俾佢哋恩賜，同埋枉費神俾佢哋一生。
And had to waste what God had given him.
所以青年人，我希望同大家講，
So I want to say to the young people,
你唔好睇你而家父母俾你咁豐富，
don't look at what how abundant things that your
你要
parents give you.
認清楚你成長當中你周圍嘅青少年人係點嘅環境。
And you have to see clearly the environment, the people who are surrounding you.
中國人所講嘅近朱者赤，近墨者黑。
The Chinese say that if you are closer to red, you are probably red, and you're closer to the dark color, then you become dark.
如果你喺一班成功人面前嘅時候，你會成功；如果你失敗者嘅面前，你都係失敗嘅。
If you are in front of a successful person, you will become successful. If you get close to a failure, then you will become a failure.
我哋現今嘅環境唔係咁理想，現今嘅環境唔係咁理想。
And our present situation environment is not ideal.
尤其想西方嘅青少年嘅生活咧，係比較放縱、放蕩、放任喺呢個電子遊戲裏邊，甚至乎係吸毒或者食大麻或者有性方面嘅。
And especially in the Western world, the young people, they're living a life of indulgence and probably less moral, and especially they indulge in the video games and even the drugs.
呢少數民族同埋新移民嘅家庭係比較用功啲，我哋要明白呢個情況。
And we need to understand that the new immigrants, they are probably better.
我以前牧養一間教會，開始嘅時候有一位老姊妹同我講。
And I pastored a church before. At the beginning, an elderly lady said to me,
佢話你睇教會裏邊啲男仔，
"Look at all the young men in this
佢話冇一個係讀完中學，
and none of them have finished high school.
冇佢讀完中學，
None
遊
of them
手
finished
好
high
閒，無
school,
所事事，
and they do nothing.
做下暑期工做到去麥當勞請佢之後咧就唔讀書噶啦，有少少錢。
And during the summer, when McDonald hired them, and they continue working and don't go back to school.
可以自立啦嘛，可以自己顧自己啦嘛，但係原來唔得㗎，其實。
And they earn money, become independent, but they find out later that's not feasible.
所以你唔好睇到人哋賺錢做工啊，你又走去跟埋佢咧，就諗住咧同佢一樣咁嘅方法係唔行得通㗎。
And don't look at the other people who are working. You want to be like them, may not be feasible for you.
我唔係叫你唔做工喎。
Not that they're not diligent.
如果你有方法，你揾到工嘅話咧，唔好將呢個咧係你嘅目標。而家目前嚟講，你讀完書先，俾心機讀書。
You have to find a way that you have to complete your education first.
然後個姊妹同我講，佢話你睇啲姊妹，
And said to look at all the ladies.
你數一數有幾多個係未婚嘅媽媽，係單親？
And you find that a lot of them are single parents who have given birth, outside of wedlock.
佢帶佢啲兒女翻嚟教會。
They bring their children to church.
有一個姊妹咧，有4個兒女帶翻嚟。
And there's a sister who have 4 children.
如果我冇睇錯嘅話咧，4個當中咧係即係有3個唔同嘅爸爸。
And among the 4 children, they have 3 different fathers.
但係呢個姊妹冇同其他任何個結婚。
But this sister is not married with anyone. Is not married.
好慘啊！
It's very terrible.
好慘㗎！你生個 BB， 要生 BB 嘅時候咧，佢哋嘅種族咧係唔打主意做墮胎嘅，一定會生出嚟㗎。咁啊變咗係單親，係根本係冇可能讀到書嘅。
And according to the culture that when you are pregnant, you do not get rid of it, do not abort it. So it's very difficult to finish school.
而家社會裏邊有咁嘅風氣喺裏邊。
And today that we have such a climate in this society.
中國人少啲，少數民族通常啲少啲，都係勤力啲嘅。
In the minority, the people in the minority they are a little bit better.
但係你喺你嘅環境裏邊，周圍裏邊嘅同學、小朋友係有咁嘅環境。
And you just look at the environment that you and the people who are around you, among your friends and your contemporaries.
你唔好講話人人咁做，我同樣去做。
Do not say that everyone is doing it, so I can do it.
政府都準咯，政府準吸毒咯，食大麻咯，或者鴉片 opioid 我可以向政府開辦嘅咪得咯。
Or even the government is allowing it, and they are even selling it. So I should be okay for me.
我希望你睇睇中國歷史，清朝裏邊就政府嘅有帶頭，政府有錢人先可以買到鴉片啊嘛，政府啲人帶頭嚟到食鴉片。
You look at the end of Qing dynasty, it is the wealthy people who started buying opium.
你諗下啲呢個國家變成一個幾失敗嘅國家，清朝裏邊。
And you can see how corrupted and how far it fell in the Qing dynasty.
係成個國家都係累到佢哋。
And the whole country was being pulled down.
弟兄姊妹啊，腐敗嘅生活係有好嚴重嘅後果。
A corrupted style of living will have consequences.
聖經裏邊講，但以理嘅咁嘅生活嗰個環境裏邊咧，到最深佢哋係被擄到外國裏邊做亡國奴嘅。
And we see this story of Daniel at the end they were captured, become a citizen of a fallen nation.
我哋冇辦法了解到佢當時嘅苦楚係點樣樣，因為我睇聖經裏邊咧，好似嗰段日子咧係冇講得咁慘。
And we really don't understand the kind of pain and suffering they're going through during that time because in the Bible there's a gap.
但係好慘㗎，佢哋係。
But we know that it's very terrible for them.
做亡國奴，冇咗自己嘅國家，係失晒佢哋自由。
And to become one who no longer have a nation that they belong to, and they lost their freedom.
我哋頭先講開睇清朝，睇中國咧，中國人咧俾人蝦，點解咧？佢食鴉片，成為人哋話佢係東亞病夫，係東亞病夫，係冇能力係保護佢哋自己嘅。
We see that also in China in Qing dynasty that they were addicted to opium and they became weak and they were called the sick men of Asia.
因為當你犯罪嘅時候，當你做啲唔腐敗嘅嘢嘅時候咧，你係樣樣都係輸㗎。你嗰個失敗嗰個咁嘅感咧係好重嘅。
And then when you're involved in such a corrupted value, then you will have a very strong sense of failure because everything you do, you fail.
中國人俾外國人蝦，俾人哋入嚟搶，俾人哋咧係要割地求和。
And the Chinese people being boldly being invaded, and people rob them, and they even have to give away land so they can have a treaty.
喺一個腐敗嘅環境裏邊，會引起一個腐敗，係一個咁嘅嚴重嘅損壞嘅後果。
A corrupted environment will bring a very damaging consequences.
弟兄姊妹、小朋友
brothers and sisters and
我哋
young
認
people,
清楚我哋而家嘅環境係乜嘢。
we need to understand clearly what is our
近朱者赤，
environment.
近墨者黑。你要同一班成功嘅人、有上進心嘅人嚟到喺埋一齊，唔係同啲失敗嘅人喺埋一齊。
You need to group yourself with people who are striving for something, who have motivated to do something.
可以講到今日嘅主題啦，最中心嘅一點啦。
And today we come to the point where the center of our message.
你話肉不着不若不剁不成器，人不學不知利。咁但以理有咩栽培到佢咧？
And as we the Chinese may say that they need to be polished to become something valuable.
有
And
咩理
people
由
who
成為
must
一個
learn
咁卓
to
越
become
嘅領袖咧？
to have understanding how can Daniel becomes one who such a great leader.
有咩理由咧？
And what's the reason?
我要解釋呢個好簡單嘅道理。
I'll explain to you. This is very simple.
因為呢個好重要嘅現象，我哋要明白。
It's a very important vision that we need to understand.
中國人所講話，你敬酒唔飲，飲罰酒。好聲好氣同你講，你唔聽，就要用嗰啲咁嘅痛苦嚟到去施刑嘅時候，我哋先會聽。
And that the Chinese may say that you don't listen when I'm speaking to you nicely. I have to do something harsh to you before you listen.
佢哋喺自己屋企裏邊唔聽神講。
So when they're living in their home, they did not listen to God.
今日佢哋去被擄啦，
Today they are being captured.
乜嘢自由都損失晒啦。
They have lost all their freedom.
佢哋咧其實一個最重要一點就叫蝕底跌底啊 ，hit bottom。我中文唔知點樣最翻譯咗 hit bottom， 即係一個人墮落到跌到最底線啦，冇得再跌噶啦。
And they have hit the rock bottom, and there's they cannot fall any further.
當我哋經歷好大嘅痛苦嘅時候，俾人哋奚落，俾人哋藐視嘅時候，
And after they have suffered a lot of suffering and people are looking down on them,
當我哋個人嘅尊嚴都冇埋嘅話，
and they even lost their self-respect.
本來但以理係一個王子身份、貴族身份嘅，而家俾人哋睇到咧，好似係一啲垃圾咁樣俾人踩。
And originally Daniel was supposed to be of noble birth, and now today he's been trampled upon.
當佢哋到呢個咁嘅 hit bottom 啊，即係跌到底最底嗰個低谷嘅時候咧，呢個就成為佢哋轉捩點。
And after they hit the rock bottom, and become a turning point for them.
聖經裏邊冇經常咁講呢樣，其實呢一個事例係好真實，好似浪子回頭就係咁啦。浪子有咁豐厚嘅家庭背景，但到最收尾，當佢跌到人生最低谷嘅時候，受痛苦嘅時候，佢就改變。
And just as the prodigal son, that when he hit the rock bottom, then his life had to be changed.
然後佢就突然間醒悟過嚟話：原來我身在福中不知福，我係得罪咗神，我係違背咗神，我係唔啱。
And suddenly they realized that they have offended God and that they were wrong.
然後佢就痛改前非，喺神嘅面前重新做人。神啊，對唔住，我得罪咗你啊！我得罪咗天，我得罪咗地，我得罪我爸爸媽媽。
And at that time they repented, and then they turned a new life, a new page in their life, and they started a new life, and they find that they offended God.
當佢哋痛定思痛嘅時候，先知道佢哋係做錯晒咁多嘅決定。
And only after they feel the pain, they realize that they were wrong.
以賽亞書第39章5至第8節講得一個透露少少嘅真相，就係但以理同埋3個朋友其他嘅轉捩點係咩？當呢個巴比倫人廢咗佢哋嘅時候，使到佢成為皇宮裏邊嘅內侍神嘅太監嘅時候。
In Isaiah chapter 39, verse 5 to 8, it gives a little bit hint of what happened to them. That Daniel and his 3 friends, when they were being captured by the Babylonians, and they were castrated.
你有冇啲一個男人冇咗佢尊嚴啊？俾人哋咧係閹咗，係做太監，冇晒個後將來嘅。
And that as a man that they lost their respect and they become a eunuch.
喺呢個絕望痛苦裏邊咧，突然間但以理同埋3個朋友明白到佢哋以前係點樣錯，佢哋需要向神嘅面前悔改。
And in this state of hopelessness, they know that they were wrong, and they need to come before God to repent before God.
呢4個本來被人認為廢青嘅人
And these 4 delinquents
開始學習神、親近神、仰望神嘅恩典。
begin to learn about God, to begin to draw near to God.
呢個亦都係個轉捩點啦。
This is their turning point.
而神冇遺棄到佢哋，
And God did not forsake them.
神同佢有接觸，
And God come in contact with
突
them.
然間佢發覺呢個係 以前亞伯拉罕嘅神、以撒嘅神、雅各嘅神。
And these you realize that this is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac.
神啊，你幫我哋啦！我哋喺呢度都生存唔到啦，你幫我哋啦！
And
我哋抬
God,
唔
we
起頭
cannot
嚟啦。
survive anymore. Please come and help us.
然後神進到佢生命裏邊，神嘅靈係將佢哋救活過嚟，
And God entered into their life, and His Spirit helped them,
然後
bring
重
them
新
life.
又使用佢哋神創造嘅時候所有嘅潛力。
And once again, we restore the potential that God given them at the beginning when He
神
created,
喺我
when he
生命裏
created
邊
them.
燃點一個火花，
And once again, to light a fire in their
使到
lives.
但以理知道咧，佢生命係有意義嘅，唔係冇意義嘅。雖然而家咧係做咗呢個閹人，
So even though that he is now a united, he knows that he still have meaning in his life.
然後佢發覺咧，佢生命有神嘅呼召嘅，神係佢嘅主嚟嘅。
And to know that God is his Lord, and that he was being called by God.
佢知道佢嘅使命喺人生當中，喺呢一個被擄嘅日子裏邊係做乜嘢嘢？
And during the time of his captive, he know his purpose and his mission.
佢企出嚟到服侍呢個人群。
And he want to come out to serve the people,
弟兄姊妹啊，小朋友啊，
brothers and sisters, and also young people.
你需要知道一樣嘢：當一個人生命裏邊咧，知道神係俾佢嘅目標、有使命感嘅話，佢係一個好厲害嘅人。
And if a person know the purpose that God given him, that he have a sense of mission, then he can he can become a person that is formidable.
當你有使命感嘅時候，你唔會遊手好閒，相反你會係改變呢個世界，係改變喺呢個社會。
When you have a mission, you will not stand around and do nothing, but you will go out and change the world, change the
你諗下
circumstances.
啲呢個廢青呢個但以理，突然間咧變成一個咁厲害嘅人。
And see how this delinquent becomes a person that's so formidable person.
兩個咁大嘅皇帝啊、王國啊，都係委任佢成最高嘅咁嘅職位。
And two different empires have given him this high position.
所以唔好睇小大家自己裏邊神所賜嘅潛力。
So do not belittle the potential God has given to you.
你冇用到唔係等於冇。
Even though you have not developed, that doesn't mean you don't have it.
你喺呢個年紀裏邊，你要求神啊，神啊，幫助我知道我裏邊有啲乜嘢嘢，你俾咗我乜嘢嘅能力去侍奉你。
At your age, you can ask God and ask Him, "What have you given me that I can serve you with?"
你話神啊，俾我一個使命感，俾我人生嘅目標啦。
God, give me a mission, give me a purpose in life,
唔好似我周圍嘅人咧，胡混混咁樣就過一生啦。
and do not go through life as in a days.
我今日點解要講呢咁嘅題目咧？
Why do I have to talk about this topic
因為
today?
最近幾十年係一個廢青嘅世界。
Because in the last so many decades, we're living in a time of delinquency.
嗱，我以前咧細個就飛仔啦，一直轉變嬉皮士啦，至少咧而家我最近先知道有咁嘅名詞嘅，最近幾個月先知咩叫廢青。咁啊，我用呢個現代嘅術語咧，就唔講飛仔啦，唔講呢個嗰啲咁嘅咩，係講廢青啦。而家係廢青嘅世界。
And thus we are living in the age of delinquency.
呢個廢青唔係青年人改嘅，乃係大人成人改俾佢嘅。
This name doesn't come from the young people. Actually, this is from the older generation.
嗱，唔係代表我對你咁法喎，唔係喎，千祈唔好咁啊！只不過我引用佢哋所用嘅名詞啊，就係點樣喺佢哋嘅心目中、上一代嘅心目中咧，喺一個頹廢嘅世界裏邊產生一啲令人失望嘅廢青。
And obviously, that's not my feeling toward the young people, but rather the old generation have this mentality. These young people, they are delinquents.
好食懶飛啊，諸多要求啊，要自由啊，要民主啊，要冇人管佢哋啊。
And they rely on other people to provide for them. Yet they have a lot of demand. They demand freedom. They demand democracy.
又冇貢獻喺裏邊，只有破壞。
And they don't have any contribution, but only causing damage.
所以上一代都係俾啲咁嘅名詞嚟㗎，呢個係廢青，係冇用㗎。呢班人生出嚟咧係冇作用嘅。
And that's why the old generation named them as delinquents, and they have they're useless in life.
弟兄姊妹、小朋友，
Brothers, sisters, and young people.
我希望你知道，從但以理身上高就係明白到咧，原來咧一個廢青原來都有咁大嘅潛力嘅。
And I want to learn from the life of Daniel. Even a delinquent can have such a great potential.
我希望你知道，原來 俾人睇小嘅，雖然，但係我哋仍然可以造福呢個世界，係影響呢個世界嘅，唔係去破壞佢嘅。
And even though that we're belittled by others, we can still yet contribute and make good in
當
to
神嘅
this
聖
vast
靈進到你嘅
society.
心裏邊，燃點你內心裏邊嘅火花嘅時候，
And when what God had light this fire in our lives,
當神使用你嘅恩賜，使用你嘅潛力嘅時候，
and when God use your potential, use your
你
talent,
就好似咧但以理你一樣咧，可以有驚人嘅一個咁嘅表現，驚人嘅影響力。
then you'll be like Daniel. You will have accomplished astonishing things.
好，我諗起碼有20多年之前，
I believe about 20-some years ago,
我就嚟講完㗎啦。
I'm
香
almost
港突破
at the
中
end.
心嘅蔡元文醫生嚟到滿地可。香港突破中心嘅蔡元文醫生嚟到滿地可。
Okay, that the Dr. Philemon Choi from the Breakthrough Center came to Montreal.
響香港嚟嘅基督徒都已經聽過呢個名㗎啦。
And those who are from Hong Kong, you probably know this name.
啊，當時我喺同工裏邊係做職員咯，我相信咧，我可能咧係嚟安排呢咁嘅聚會嘅，就係一個聯合嘅聚會。
And I was in the have a part in organizing this meeting.
佢個聚會裏邊講一啲嘢係大開眼界，亦都係影響我今日所講嘅説話。
And today, at that time, he has shown me something that opened my eyes. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying today.
嗰個內容我唔能夠好準確嚟重複得出嚟。
I cannot repeat it precisely what he said.
所以咧，嗰個意思喺度，但係咧嗰個正確嘅內容咧未必一樣，但係希望大家唔好責怪我。
I may not have all the facts as precise as I want, so bear
佢
with me.
講到有啲社工喺呢個歐洲，你知道歐洲嗰陣時候咧，喺呢個東歐尤其是咧，真係有一啲好似我頭先所講咧，喺呢大陸文化革命嗰陣時候咧，嗰啲咁頹廢咁嘅嗰啲失望嘅咁嘅社會。
And there's some social worker who went to Europe who are experiencing the same phenomenon that was in China through after the Cultural Revolution. They were living in a very degenerate society.
去幫助一啲廢青，
And they were there to help some young people
一
who
班
were
又唔讀
delinquent.
書啊、無所事事、遊手好閒嘅人。
The people who drop out of school, who are doing nothing, have nothing to do.
因為佢哋一班咁嘅社工相信咧，呢啲人咧雖然讀唔到書，但係佢哋有好大嘅潛力。
And because this group of social workers believe that these people, even though they haven't finished their education, yet they have great potential.
呢啲人唔係真係需要咧，係你俾錢佢救濟佢啊咁之類。呢啲人咧，如果佢哋俾佢機會有挑戰嘅時候咧，佢哋可以踏出嚟嘅。
And they don't need to survive on welfare. If you give them a chance, they will rise up.
所以佢哋咧係揾佢班人翻嚟，
So they gather them.
俾佢哋一個咁嘅機會，去一個製作嘅影片啊嘅廣播嘅公司裏邊，俾佢哋一班人咧自己組織、自己策劃、自己搞一啲廣播劇。
And to take them to a production company where they can produce their own radio drama.
你睇得唔得啊？
Do you think they can do it?
呢人遊手好閒，乜嘢都唔做，好食懶飛，做啲乜嘢咁大嘅陣仗嘅嘢，邊係做得到啊？
And these people who do nothing, who knows nothing, how can they be involved? How can they be successful in such a big production?
你錯啦！
But you're wrong.
呢班人當佢俾佢咁嘅機會嘅時候，哇！佢幾認真啊，幾有創意啊，做一啲好驚人嘅製作。
And that when these people were given the opportunity, they were so creative and so dedicated in their work.
你睇到原來佢創作力比其他啲人更加高嘅，
And they're so creative, more so than many other people.
所以你唔好睇小自己裏邊個神俾你嘅潛力啊，因為你未有用到，唔係等於冇。
So do not belittle the potential God has given you, even though you have not developed it. That doesn't mean that you don't have.
所以突破響香港，亦都向啲邊緣嘅人士做工作，因為發現原來佢哋啲人咧真係好積極，係可以好成功。如果你俾佢機會嘅話，
And because of that, the breakthrough in Hong Kong also applied this to reach out to the marginalized people, young people there, and they found out that they were have great potential as well.
我哋青少年朋友
Our young friends,
唔好俾人睇小你。
do not let other people to belittle you.
你今日要向但以理學習。
You need to learn from Daniel.
原來但以理神早已俾佢呢個天賦嘅條件，
And Daniel have this inner talent that's given to him.
環境令到佢失敗最初，
At the beginning, because of the environment, he was a failure.
但係當佢 開始奉獻俾神嘅時候，認識神，知道神原來同佢有關係嘅。
When he offered all he has to God and realized that God have a relationship with God.
當佢聽到神喺佢心裏邊嘅呼召，知道佢喺當中要做乜嘢去幫助當代嘅以色列人。
And when he heard the calling of God, that his purpose is to help the Jewish people of his time.
然後佢發覺唔單止係幫以色列人添，原來仲係幫埋啲擄掠佢嘅巴比倫人，呢個馬代波斯人。
Not only Israelites, but also the Babylonians and the Medi Persian.
唔單止咁啊，原來呢啲係王國嚟嘅，又亦都影響周圍不同嘅地方。所以嗰陣時候應該係但以理係全世界裏邊最有影響力嘅第二把交椅嘅人。
And because there's an empire, so that Daniel had raised up to be the second most authoritative figure of his time.
所以頭先我要幾個禮拜裏邊所講咧，我哋裏邊嘅潛力啊，係等於君王嘅潛力一樣㗎。你唔好睇小自己啊。
I have mentioned for several weeks now that the potential we have are fit for a king or queen.
但係最初開始一樣嘅就係你要有人生嘅目標，喺神裏邊得到翻嚟。
But the most important thing in the beginning is that you need to have a goal in your life.
你話神啊，俾我喺我生命裏邊有一個抱負，有一個使命感去貢獻我嘅人生啦。
And to ask God to give you an aspiration to realize in your life.
等就朋友啊，食大麻、食鴉片、同人上床、同人玩性遊戲係幫唔到你嘅。
And to take drugs and to play sexual games all these things cannot help you.
呢啲係冇意義嘅。
They are meaningless.
弟兄姊妹
，brothers and sisters，
我仲要講多一樣嘢，我就講完啦。最後一個中國有名嘅青年人。
Say one more thing. I want to convey you the story about a famous young person.
呢個青年人好特別㗎啦。佢本來有好好嘅教育，好似但以理一樣。
He, like Daniel, have a very good education.
佢去外國讀書。
And he studied overseas.
其他人咧，你知道答案唔好講出嚟啊！我諗啲細蚊仔未必知道答案。佢係咧本來可以做醫生嘅。
And originally that he could become a doctor, a medical doctor.
但係佢有正經嘅行業冇做，但係四處去生事。
But he did not, practice the profession, but he go everywhere to stir up things.
當佢年輕嘅時候，佢走到廟堂裏邊搗亂，令到人哋唾罵佢。
And he went to the temple and make trouble, and people were rebuking him.
佢參加個秘密嘅組織、地下組織去顛覆呢個社會。
And he entered into a secret society to turn the society upside down.
佢四處係挑撥呢個動盪，係被控告係造謠生事。
And he spread rumors everywhere to cause turbulence in society.
佢成為中國裏邊一個頭號嘅通緝犯，係政府裏邊嘅眼中釘，係國家大患。
He's the most wanted person for the government of China.
呢個係廢青。
And this is a delinquent.
響上一代嚟講，呢個係廢青。
For the previous generation, this is a delinquent.
但響下一代嚟講，呢個係我哋嘅國父孫中山先生。
But for next generation, he's our father of the nation.
孫中山先生係個基督徒。
That Dr. Sun Yat-sen is a Christian.
神俾佢一個使命喺個生命裏邊。
That God had given him a mission in his
要
life.
將中國從呢一個腐敗嘅社會當中釋放出嚟。
And to free China from this corrupted values.
要推翻呢個滿清政府，你話幾咁難啊？
And to overthrow the Qing dynasty.
無權無勢無軍隊。
He doesn't have any power, no army.
但係佢將佢自己一生嚟奉獻俾中國，奉獻俾神。神賜俾佢力量，係做出一件神蹟出嚟。
But he gave his life to China and gave his life to God, and God gave him the power to perform this miracle.
係，如果睇翻歷史嘅時候，冇可能發生㗎。
You look back in the history, these things cannot happen.
但係當神喺你嘅心裏邊俾呢個使命、呢個願望、你嘅目標嘅時候咧，係一啲唔可能做成嘅事，神都可以使到你做成。
But when God has given you this mission in life, then God can make things the impossible become possible.
小朋友， 青年人
young people,
唔好糊裡糊塗過你一生，
do not live your life in a day.
唔好做廢青啊，
Do not become a
唔好
delinquent,
人云亦云啊！
and do not follow others.
神已經俾呢個好大嘅潛力，你今日要使用。
And God has given you the potential, and now for you to use it.
你
To
今日要
develop it.
睇睇你裏邊有啲乜嘢，神啊，你用我啦！
You have to see what have God given you and ask God, God, use
你
me.
梗係俾一啲好嘅嘢我噶，我要用你俾我嘅最好嘅禮物。
And you have something, you give me something good, and I want to use this gift you've given me.
我今日希望鼓勵每一個，你祈求神啊，神啊，你幫助我睇到你俾乜嘢我。
And I want to ask you to ask God to say, ask God, say, what have you given me?
幫助我有一個抱負生命嘅裏邊，
And help me to have an
幫助
aspiration
我
in
有一個
life.
使命感去貢獻去造福人群。
And help me to have a sense of mission to contribute to make a blessing for the people.
父神，我哋感謝你，
Father, we thank you
俾我哋當中有咁優秀嘅青少年人。
and to have such a superb young people among us.
你知道佢哋你所做佢嘅時候有幾大嘅潛力。
You know the potential you have given them when you make
有陣時佢哋睇低佢哋自己，以為佢哋自己冇用，
and sometimes they belittle themselves that they're useless.
甚至乎父母都睇唔到佢哋潛力，
Even the parents cannot see their potential,
但係你睇得到。
but you know.
所以懇求主，你今日喺佢哋每一個人嘅心裏邊對你講説話，
So please speak to each and every one of us,
聖靈啊，進到佢哋心嘅裏邊，
and that Spirit come into their hearts
將呢個鎖匙插入去，打開佢哋門，
and and have this key to open the door
釋放佢哋，
to freedom,
俾佢哋有呢個自由去就進取佢哋嘅你所俾佢哋嘅目標，
that they have the liberty to go after the goal they set
俾
before
佢哋
them.
有決心
So they have the determination
同埋專心，叫佢哋唔會受周圍嘅人嘅影響，
and focus and not being affected, influenced by
俾佢哋有
others.
勇敢勇往直前，唔懼怕關難。
And they will have the boldness to go forward
俾佢哋有好嘅父母嚟鼓勵佢哋。
despite the difficulty. They have encouraging parents.
雖然佢哋父母未必明白晒所有你嘅旨意係乜嘢嘢，
Even though the parents may not understand everything,
使到佢哋父母同你合作。
but then may the parents cooperate with them.
父啊，懇求你嘅靈嚟去釋放每一個青少年人，
And may your Spirit come and free all the young people,
使到佢哋有自尊心，
that they will have
係唔
self-respect
懼怕，
and not afraid,
知道你係同佢同在嘅時候，佢哋有能力
and know that when you're with them, they will have the power. They're
加添佢
empowered,
哋自信心嚟去做你要佢哋做嘅事情。
and give them the heart to do what they wanted to do.
佢讀書能夠成功，
That they will be successful in their
有好嘅記
education
憶力，
and have good memory
同人好嘅相處，
and have a good relationship with others.
亦都有分別嘅能力，知道好嘅事同埋唔好嘅事，所以使到佢哋能夠咧真係選善棄惡。
And know how to discern good from wrong and choose the good instead of bad.
我哋感謝你，我哋相信你，
We thank you and believe in you.
有賜福呢間教會。
May you also bless this church.
你知道我哋有我哋嘅缺陷，
You know that we have our shortcomings.
我哋唔知道點樣去栽培佢哋，
We don't know how to cultivate
但
them.
係俾我哋能夠釋放我哋呢班領袖，
Yet help us to freedom
有
as leaders,
有上下同心嚟到去栽培呢班人。
and that we will nurture them from the top down.
我哋咁樣禱告，
We pray this
係奉主耶穌基督聖名求，
in the name of Jesus.
阿門，
Amen.
阿門，阿門，
Amen.
阿門。Just like what I said earlier, Jonathan and Madelyn and Andrea spending the last Sunday with us. We are privileged to have them for the last 2 years.
頭先已經講過，就係Madelyn、Jonathan 同埋Andrea 佢哋係我哋教會嘅最後一個禮拜。咁過去嗰2年，我哋好榮幸可以係佢喺我哋當中。
I don't know if Jonathan is ready yet, but perhaps maybe we will give him a little bit time just to say a few words. Do you mind?
咁或者係
We
俾佢
have another microphone for them. Microphone. Oh, here. I'll ask Ben. Ben, are you home yet? Ben have to rush home to do something. Ben, do you mind doing the announcement first? Linda, do you mind turning? No, he's not ready. He's not there.
Morning.
Okay, can you click him? Where's Ben?
Can you hear? Can you see?
Well, I'm not sure he's there.
Okay.
I'm there. Hello?
You speaker wheel. You speaker wheel. Yeah, here. That's the one speaker view. Okay, just go to the right. It doesn't matter. They can see him, so we will hear his voice. Can you raise the speaker a little bit louder so that Douglas can hear?
Good morning. Can you hear? No big announcements. Just to let you know.
咁係有報告想講俾大家知。
The situation in Quebec is changing quite rapidly.
咁喺呢個嘅魁北克省，佢疫情係轉變得好快。
If we're going to the board, we are continuing to do what we'll be doing as we've done the last few weeks.
咁執事會係會繼續我哋好似過去呢幾個禮拜咁樣喺做呢個直播。
But if there are any changes, we will we'll let you know.
咁若然有任何嘅轉變嘅話咧，我會盡早同大家講嘅。
That's all the announcements I have.
咁咧係咁多報告係咁多啦。
Okay, thank you, Ben.
唔該，Ben。
I would like to ask Jonathan and Madelyn with Andrea to come up just to let the people see you before you go and to say a few words, and then we'll pray with you.
咁係請Madelyn Jonathan 同埋 Andrea 係上到台嘅前邊咧，係讓大家睇一睇你哋。咁喺你哋離開之前咧，想為你哋禱告嘅。
Well, the microphone doesn't work, so we have to give him another microphone.
No, it will work.
No, there's no light. Hello. No light. Oh, thank you. Well, we have to go through all this. Well, as long as I'm speaking, I guess I can still have my mask off. But if I sit down, I have to put on my mask. And they can take off the mask too, if they are speaking. But if they are comfortable with the mask on, it's fine too. Yeah. You don't want the microphone? Because okay, good. Just.
So hi, everybody. It's been 2 years since we actually stepped into this church from 2018 to now.
咁樣係大家好，我哋喺教會已經係有2年咁耐啦。
And during these past 2 years, a lot of memories, a lot of friendships forged in this church.
咁喺教會裏邊咧係有好多嘅回憶，有好多嘅友誼。
I think the main highlight was really for us to really welcome Andrea into our lives, and many of us in the church has been around to support us in many ways.
咁樣係佢哋可以好難過，哋好多謝大嘅弟兄姊妹喺過去嘅幾個禮拜裏邊咧係同我哋有呢個聚會嘅時間。
So Andrea has grown a lot, and I think in the past 2 years, everybody has seen her grown, and it's a testament to what the church has done so much for us. Her growth is a testament of how everybody has contributed to her life.
咁又係好高興係見到大家喺我哋生命裏邊喺裏邊都係俾我哋有啲嘅貢獻。
So now we give thanks, and right now I guess it's just a phase in lives where we have to say our goodbyes.
咁雖然係咁樣，但係我哋時間嚟到，我哋需要同大家講拜拜啦。
It's not going to be easy, but it's really for us to just move on. We return back to Singapore on the 30th of September. We are flying off on the 30th of September.
咁係已經係仍然係有會喺呢幾個月嘅時間，係翻到去新加坡嘅。
But you will still be close to our hearts, and you're always welcome to visit and let us know if anybody pops by to the other part of the world. It's opposite 12 hours.
咁你大家都會喺我哋生活裏邊嘅。如果你有呢個機會嘅話咧，好歡迎大家係嚟探我哋。
So if God willing, I do hope to, for me work-wise, I may just come back for trips here and there. It's not definite, but not a no. So when I do come back, we definitely will come by to greet everybody again.
咁將來啲可能有機會係會再翻到嚟，我會翻到嚟時候就會大家同大家講一講 hello 嘅。
So for now, in conclusion, again, we give thanks to the friendship and appreciate everybody for inspiring us, and especially to Pastor and for his leadership.
咁喺呢個時間嘅裏邊係多謝大家係俾我哋嘅友誼，尤其是係牧師喺我哋嘅生命中俾我哋嘅鼓勵。
I know now it's a difficult time for everybody to say goodbyes. It's also a bit hard due to the limitations. physical limitations, it's hard for us to, you
因
know,
為
meet
嘅
up
咁
with those.
呢個呢個呢個嘅嘅環境嘅緣故啊，好難同大家一齊咁樣係講拜拜嘅。
But we appreciate the thoughts, and we will always keep everybody here in prayer.
咁好多謝大家係有咁嘅咁樣嘅諗法，你嘅咁樣嘅心意，咁多謝大家。
Thank you.
Before I pray, so I would like to say a few words to them. And well, we really appreciate your friendship, and Jonathan and Madelyn and Andrea too. You know, you have brought us a lot of joy.
咁好多謝Jonathan、Madelyn 同埋 Andrea 係俾我哋嘅呢個嘅友誼，亦都係帶給我哋好多嘅喜樂。
Before they came, I guess we have a speaker who used to work in Singapore as our speaker, and then there was a little bit connection that we felt that we can make with them.
咁佢嚟之前咧，我哋都係之前有個新加坡嚟嘅講員嘅，咁所以我同佢哋之間係好似係有一個聯繫喺度咁
But
樣。
I was thinking they must be looking for something more than this here.
當時我發覺佢可能佢所尋求嘅係比我哋所有嘅係更加
So
多。
I wasn't trying to entice them to the church, you know. I'm just trying to be low key and give them the freedom to make the choice.
咁所以咁樣緣故，我係非常之低調啫，又唔係話想好致力咁樣係吸引佢哋教會嗰
But
度，
I'm
讓佢哋
surprised
自
you
己作出
you
呢個
make a
決定。
choice, and I do believe it's the right choice.
咁我好驚奇佢係作出咁嘅決定，我亦都相信呢個
Because
係一個啱嘅決定，
You have made a big contribution to the church.
因為你喺呢個教會裏邊，你係作出好大嘅貢獻。
There's your friendliness and your openness to us. You know, in just a short time, you are able to integrate yourself into the fabric of the church.
因為你係開放同埋有呢個友善嘅緣故咧，好快已經融入咗去教會裏嘅生活。
And your willingness to participate and to involve too.
同埋係有呢個願意同埋係去參與喺我哋教會裏面。
Actually, many of you do not know. Jonathan is very musical. You know, he plays piano, trained in piano, and he also plays guitar. And he did play for us on Friday small group guitar too.
咁大家可能唔知道嘅話，其實佢係一個識玩音樂嘅人嘅，佢係接受過呢個嘅鋼琴訓練咧，亦都係彈呢個吉他。佢哋喺禮伍裏邊咧係個小組係彈吉他。
He was scheduled actually to participate in the worship team and all that, but somehow Andrea's arrival changed all that.
咁其實本來佢應該係同我哋一齊係參與呢個嘅呢個嘅敬拜嘅呢個小組嘅，但係因為咧Andrea 嚟到嘅緣故咧，想將一切都改變咗啦。
But without those public exposure, we still feel that you have made yourself public enough to impact the life of this church, to touch base with so many different people.
雖然係冇喺呢個你咁呢個台上有啲咁嘅大嘅曝光，但係你仍然咧係讓自己係同唔同嘅環境裏邊，同唔同嘅人有接觸。
You left a very fond memory in our minds when you leave this church.
咁你喺雖然離開我哋嘅時候，你喺我哋心底裏邊，喺腦海裏留低好好嘅回憶。
Well, by the way, Linda got to know a Singaporean, you know, about a year or two ago. You know, she had been talking to her about visiting Singapore, and Linda said, "Next stop, we should go to Singapore." I don't know. I'm not giving you a rain check. I'm not making a promise, but you know, it's a country I do want to visit again. I went there once.
咁師母咧就初係識咗啱啱就識咗一個新加坡嚟嘅人，咁佢哋都係講過話，可能有機會去到新加坡。咁唔係話我一定會去咁做，但係我希望有咁嘅機會。
I want to encourage all of you, if you make your next plan to travel, perhaps that should be one of your stops too.
咁如果你係計劃去旅行嘅話咧，可能新加坡係其中一個目的地。
Do you mind those people staying in this sanctuary? Do you mind rising up and raise your hand, even though we cannot crowd together and lay hand on them? You can reach out your hand and bless these couples and Andrea also.
咁喺在座嘅喺教會裏邊嘅喺 Zoom 裏邊嘅都請你大家係企起身，係伸出你嘅手，係為咗呢個家庭嘅禱告。
We'll pray for you.
係為你祈禱。
Our God, our Savior,
我哋嘅主啊，我哋嘅救主，
the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
就係呢個亞伯拉罕以撒同埋嘅神。
You have called us from a far distance,
你係從遠處係呼召我哋，
and you led Abraham from one place to another,
你帶領亞伯拉罕從一個地方去另一個地方，
and yet you bless him.
係仍然係祝福佢哋，
so that he can be a blessing to other people.
好讓佢係成為其他人嘅福氣。
We are thankful that Jonathan and Madelyn have taken this same challenge to travel around and to be a blessing to people around them.
亦都係感謝 John 同埋 Madelyn 咧，係負呢個挑戰去到唔同嘅地方，係成為其他人嘅
Not
福氣。
only in this church,
唔單止喺呢間教會裏邊，
I also recognize that you have used them to impact the workers around them.
係唔單止喺教會裏邊，亦都喺佢做工嘅地方，係亦都係影響到佢哋嘅工友。
So, Father, I pray that you continue to rest your hands on their lives,
咁祈求你哋嘅手繼續係放喺佢哋嘅生命嘅裏邊，
guide them and protect them in this journey home.
喺引領佢哋同埋保護佢哋。當佢哋喺呢個翻到屋企嘅旅程
After that, I
當中，
pray that you will expand the tent.
咁之後祈求你係將佢嘅帳幕係擴大。
When they take roots again in Singapore, I pray, Lord, that they will reintegrate into society quickly.
當佢哋喺新加坡再次扎根嘅時候，讓佢好快咁樣融入到去當中嘅社
Give
會，
them divine blessing and prosperity.
俾佢哋係有呢個嘅從神而嚟嘅呢個嘅豐盛，
so that they can be a blessing to people around them,
好讓佢哋一直成為其他佢四周圍人嘅福
especially
氣。
to the parents and who have been missing them for such a long time, and all the siblings, Lord, that they will bring much joy to these families.
特別係佢哋父母同埋兄弟姊妹，佢哋係當中係好掛住佢哋，讓佢哋係成為佢哋嘅喜樂。
Bless them in the work assignment. Bless them at the church also.
亦都喺佢哋教會佢裏邊係讓佢哋牧，
Open up all the right doors for them,
讓佢哋打開為佢哋打開適當嘅
so
門，
nobody can oppose or close it.
冇人可以將你打開嘅門係閂埋。
Continue to bless this young life, Andrea.
繼續係賜福俾 Andrea 呢個，
She is a baby born to us in this church,
佢係呢個教會出生嘅 BB，
and she has a special place here.
佢喺我哋教會裏邊有個好特別嘅位置。
Many adults, many babysitters have touched her life, and many people hold her.
好多嘅成
Tell
人，
her.
好多嘅唔同嘅保姆都係觸摸到佢生命，都係俾
Lord,
佢生命觸摸。
I pray that all this special touch will continue to rest upon her life.
咁祈求呢啲特別嘅事情繼續喺佢生命裏邊發生，
That strength, wisdom, and will rest upon her.
係讓呢個力量同埋係智慧臨到佢身上，
May your Holy Spirit continue to guide her in the path of life,
讓聖靈繼續喺佢生命裏邊係帶領，
so that she can grow up in the fear of you.
咁可以活喺敬畏神嘅呢個嘅態度裏邊。
As they fly back to Singapore, I pray that you give them traveling mercy.
當佢係翻返去新加坡嘅時候，讓你係俾佢哋你
Protect them from any virus.
係保護佢哋唔好感染任何嘅病情。
We ask all this in the name of our Lord Jesus.
我哋奉主耶穌嘅名點樣祈求？